There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of land and waters that this podcast is recorded on. Hello and welcome to Cancelled, the podcast that looks at silly celebrity crimes and assigns charges and sentences to them so that we can all move on with our lives. I'm Jessie Stevens and I'm joined by
Claire Stevens.
And I know that we try and create suspense by telling you a few minutes in who today's ep is going to be all about, right? But it's in the title, so everyone knows already.
That's always been the issue when we try and clickbait it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we already gave it
Who's
away.
it going to be? Drum roll. But before we get to that, Claire, do you have a lazy girl story for me today?
I do. Jessie, in the spirit of lazy girl stories about
Ghosts?
no
Natural disasters.
natural disasters.
Okay, all right, yes.
This one. So I have the exact same lazy girl story that was on the latest pod, except mine is worse, lol. So when that earthquake happened and the tsunami warning went off,
So this is the same earthquake. Oh, wow. It's actually the same natural disaster. We had multiple lazy girl experiences.
Yes. It was after midnight. My flatmates were going to drive and sit up on the top of some hill. And I was like, nah, CBF, and I went back to sleep.
Yeah.
Also, my brother and sister-in-law lived over the road and said they were going to go stay at mum's for the night. And I again was like, nah, CBF.
Lazy girl.
She's a lazy girl.
Mum was so mad when they turned up and I wasn't with them.
It's like, where's your sister?
Because it's like end of times, you know? It's like the
Yeah.
apocalypse. And it's like, family, like this could be our last night together. And you're like, I don't want to be rude, but I'm quite happy where I am.
Remember when you were in the apocalypse and you
Yeah.
found out your true self?
Yeah, so I got stuck in the bushfires down the south coast of New South
The
Wales.
2019?
2019 into 2020. Yeah. And
No electricity, no water, no nothing.
No
Stuck.
food,
Yeah.
all
Couldn't
the-
leave.
It was hell.
SES.
And
And what'd you do?
I went to sleep.
You slept through it.
And
You
my
slept through it.
brothers were so angry. They kept waking me up though.
And I thought you had like one packet of chips. It was communal. And you ate it. And they were like,
And-
we don't have any
and
more
Jack
food.
and Nick were like, we've got a ration. And I was like, I was anxious. But they kept waking me up like early and then I'd nap and they'd wake me up and I was like, I don't want to be rude, but if this is the apocalypse, I'm quite happy to sleep through it.
And wasn't it really dark?
Yeah, it was
Because
dark
of the
and
smoke.
cold.
So it was like, what are you going to do? You're just going to sleep through it.
And it's like, I'm aware of my strengths and my weaknesses.
Yeah.
Can I practically help in this situation? Absolutely not.
I'm going to hibernate.
But you know how I did help? When the power did come back on and we were allowed to leave,
Yeah.
it came on at a really weird time, like 11:45 at night. I was wide awake because I'd been sleeping all day. And I was smart enough to get in my car and fill it up with petrol.
Oh, nice.
And 5 minutes later, the petrol line was like 8 hours long. So being a lazy girl,
Suckers.
survival
That's
mode.
survival instinct.
Those idiots who were sleeping like normal people.
Today's subject, right? Not a lazy girl. She's the opposite to a lazy girl because she played the long game. And I checked the law book to confirm, and it turns out we respect that. Today's episode is all about Camilla Parker Bowles, best known to us and our listeners as
Cam.
Cammy Cam. Cam is now the literal Queen of England. But Claire, she wasn't always the Queen of England. She was born Camilla Rosemary Shand in 1947. Her dad was a British Army officer turned businessman named Major Bruce.
Oh,
Well, like his first name's Bruce. Shand.
it's not
But Major Bruce is what I think his friends would refer to him as. And her mother was the honorary Rosalind Cubitt. Now, she had ancestors who had names such as the 3rd Baron Ashcombe. So she wasn't like us, who has Uncle Craig, Uncle Dave.
And I'm guessing she wasn't like Kate Middleton.
No, not even like
She's-
Kate Middleton.
She was aristocratic
Yes.
with her weird, like, there's all these weird words that end in ness.
Yes.
Like marioness
Yeah.
or something.
And Mountbatten comes up.
yeah. Which, is she related to her husband? Maybe.
Well, we'll get to that. Everything I read about her childhood highlighted the fact that she grew up in a lovely home with an orchid and a pool.
What do you mean?
Is an orchid a plant and an
Yes.
orchard is a place?
Yes.
She grew up.
I'm like,
She grew up
like
in a
single
lovely
orchid.
home with an orchard and also a pool. It's always like a lovely summer home with a pool. She loves to swim. Now, Claire, what such things do you know about England?
It's cold.
It's cold. It's
and
too cold for a pool.
not swimming weather.
This is her pool.
Oh, I like it. I quite like
Don't
it.
you think it looks cold?
It looks freezing, but it looks quite provincial.
I think it looks, the word isn't mouldy, but it's got some algae in it.
Yeah, but that's very British. It is British. It's concrete around it that's aged.
It's too cold for
Um,
11 months of the year. It's too cold.
And there's hedges and there's like concrete sculptures, and I think she might do like an ice bath vibe.
it's
like
not my aesthetic.
She jumps in when it is cold.
We'll put those on the twins' thoughts at some point. Another fun fact about Cam Cam is that she has a real passion for painting.
Oh,
Claire, who does that
don't.
remind you of?
Charles.
Speaking of connections with Charles, it has also been said that after hiring a private tutor to help her with her painting, most of Cam Cam's paintings ended up in the bin.
Oh, no.
Kindred spirits. So she enjoys painting, not good at it.
Same as
Another thing
Charles.
in common.
At the coronation, I think the day after the coronation, there was an event and there was like a comedian or something doing a bit about Charles, but in front of Charles.
Like a roasting.
Yeah, and he said,
He himself, of course, is a painter, an artist. The artist formerly known as Prince.
do you get it?
Not really.
Well, you know Prince?
it's just a shit joke.
musician?
You know what that is? That is a comedian who was once funny. And then all his jokes had to go through 11 rounds of editing because it was going to be in front of King Charles.
Well, apparently.
until it got unfunny.
Well, apparently Charles chuckled, so he
Yeah, of
liked
course it did, because that's not a roast.
He liked being referred to as an artist in that context
Yeah.
because he was like, I'm the king. I'm also
An
known as
artist.
an artist.
Now, Claire, before I get into my structure, I think it's worth noting that Cam Cam was once the most cancelled person in the whole world. She was widely referred to throughout the 90s as the most hated woman in Britain. But back then, there was no cancelled courtroom. So she couldn't be on trial. So that's what we're doing today. It's obviously very important. My structure for today is as follows. Doing a cheat. Wait a minute, are they f***ing cousins? That's my second one.
Oh, no.
Camilla versus Diana, but also Camilla versus the Queen. That's just one segment. Something we missed about her and Charles's tampon chat.
Oh,
The
wow.
first time, revisited.
Need to revisit, yeah.
And finally, what Harry said. Firstly, doing a cheat. On the 4th of July 1973, Cam Cam marries Andrew Parker Bowles in London. There were 800 guests at their wedding, including the Queen's daughter Anne, who once had sexy time with Andrew Parker Bowles. And they had sexy time. The Queen's sister Margaret was there. The Queen mother was there. After they got married, they had 2 kids, Thom and Laura. Do you know who Tom's godfather is?
Is it Charles?
Yes, Charles. Yep. Here's what we need to establish before we get into Camilla's cheating. Andrew Parker Bowles is a dirty dog.
Oh, wow.
The dirtiest of all the dogs.
I didn't know that.
Really?
No, I'm quite disengaged.
Lazy girl.
She's a lazy girl.
Okay, no. No, he's such a dirty dog. He'd barely looked at Cam Cam and he was doing a cheat. When he was with Princess Anne, he wasn't not cheating on Camilla. That's unclear, right? There was a bit of crossover. He loved cheating on Camilla with her friends, with her close friends, and it made Camilla a bit crazy. And she was forever asking her friends not to sleep with Andrew, and then they'd get mad because they were like, well, Carol did. So why
Okay.
can't I?
Fair.
And it's
Fair.
like my husband currently has his hands in your pants, and the Queen Mother was at my wedding yesterday.
Have some respect.
Have some respect. There's a story that goes from a royal insider. A friend of Camilla's said to Andrew, I'm really hurt, Andrew. I'm the only one of Camilla's friends you haven't made a pass at. What's wrong with me?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my
That's-
harassment?
That's really sad.
It was all a bit embarrassing. And in the council courtroom, I just wanted to state, and I don't think we've put this on the record before, it matters who cheated first.
Oh, God, yes. Because you're setting the ground rules and you're saying cheating is a way that we hurt each other.
in this relationship.
Because every relationship has your ways that you hurt each other.
Yeah.
And you've put cheating into the arena. And so Cam is going to be like, you gone cheat? Look at me go cheat.
I'm going to go cheat with the future King of England. Around the time Cam actually met Andrew for the first time, she also met Charles. And they dated for a little while until Charles joined the Royal Navy. But that Mountbatten guy, he came out and he said, you can't be marrying Camilla because she's not a virgin, apparently. And something about her ancestry, which we'll get to. Anyway, Charles went away with the Royal Navy, and while he was away, he gets a note, an alert, a pop-up on Apple News
Yeah.
that says Cam's marrying Andrew.
Okay, so this will be turned into like a season of something like Bridgerton. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can so see you're on the rough seas.
Yes.
And then it's like Cam's getting married and you're like, oh,
Devil! What, sir? She's married that f***ing twat!
Bloody thing. Exactly. Her friendship with Charles continues while Andrew is sticking it in everything that moves, right? It's just, he can't stop humping. Okay, he's walking through the world. He's just humping at parties. He's humping at weddings. He's humping Prince Anne. He just can't stop. But Cam likes Andrew other than the humping.
Okay.
He doesn't really care when Camilla appears to be sleeping with Charles again because he's too busy contracting his own STDs and such, right? He can't really hold it against her. Then, of course, Charles meets Diana. And I think we covered this in the Charles episode, but right before Diana and Charles are set to marry, Diana discovers a gift. Can you remember the gift that she discovered? The bracelet.
With the C's? No cufflinks?
Yeah, it was like an engraved bracelet, but with their nicknames on it.
Yes.
And she got really upset. And then on their honeymoon, where we know Diana got pissed off about all the
Watercolours?
Yes, watercolour
And
paintings.
she chucked them.
And she got really upset. Charles opened his diary, probably to write, Diana's being rude about my watercolours, and 2 pictures of Camilla fell out.
That's right. And Diana knew that, right?
Yeah.
She saw it, yes.
In Camilla's defence, her husband was cheating on her left, right and centre. Andrew started it. I know this is a complicated 4-person
Love triangle.
prism.
Square.
Quadrangle.
Love square.
Quadrangle of cheating. But Andrew started it.
I wonder if Cam was a little bit like, Charles, you're my mistress. Don't marry someone else. That complicates it.
But that's a good point because no one ever calls Prince Charles a mistress.
But he was.
When she was married first. So he was her mistress. Good point. Their affair ramped up in 1986. I love reading that because it's like, in what way?
Yeah, it's like, was it like different experimental types of sex or did they send nudes?
Yeah,
how do
like
you
what
ramp
happened?
up an affair?
And that was a few years after Harry was born. So obviously Charles and Diana have 2 little kids and shit starts to hit the fan. But wait, because I need to move on to our next piece of evidence. Hang on, are they f***ing cousins? Well, good question. Because who among us has not fallen in love, started having exciting, adventurous sex that ramps up and down, and then realised we're cousins? You see, Cam's great-grandmother, Alice Keppel, she was also a mistress to King Edward. Claire, can you please read out these Roman numerals? Not for effect, just because I don't know how many that
7.
is. 7. Okay.
That's 7.
Also a mistress to King Edward VII.
The 7th. Jesus
The 7th.
Christ.
From 1898 to 1910. I admire her commitment to that affair because it's quite a while.
Yeah.
The affair ended in 1910 because King Edward died, which often makes affairs harder to have. He cut it off.
Yeah.
She tried, he was in the ground. Alice had a daughter named Sonia, who was believed at the time to be the daughter of her husband George, but some speculate that she might have actually been the daughter of King Edward, who is, of course, Charles's great-grandfather. So that would make Camilla and Charles...
Well, hold on. How is Camilla related to Alice's daughter?
Because Alice is her great-grandmother. Oh,
Okay.
my God. It's like you're not even following.
Okay.
So Alice is Camilla's great-grandmother.
So it's almost like their grandparents were half siblings.
No. Their great-grandparents had an affair and out came Sonia.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying the grandparents, because King Edward's kids.
It's very
This
complicated.
Sonia
but you know
was
where I
a
read this? I
half-kid.
read it on Ancestry.com.
So it's got to be true.
So it's got to be true.
Basically, there's some incest is what
There's
you're
some
claiming.
incest going on. Some speculate, yes, that they are second cousins once removed. But that's just speculation. Not good enough for our courtroom.
Yes, but you know what? In almost everywhere, that would be
That
legal.
was my question, is play on ?
Look, play on legally. Sure. Play on
But that's not what this is
ethically.
about. The cancel courtroom is about vibes.
Play on vibes? Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
All right, but what
Anyone
if...
we find out we're related to, we have just a little line. We say, sorry, shan't be sticking my dick in that. I shan't.
I shan't. No, we shan't.
No.
But maybe they're not second cousins because maybe Sonia was George's. We don't know. We weren't there. Okay? We don't have the time.
No.
Regardless, Camilla and Charles are distant cousins anyway, of some sort. Some say ninth cousins once removed. I don't know what that means, so play on.
Yes. And look, I think I always assumed that they were related in some way because every aristocrat
Yes.
in England, there's just not that many of them, they're so rich. And
Camilla is related to Kit Harington. Like Game of Thrones, Kit Harington. Claire, what does he play in that show?
Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Jon Snow. Jon Snow is related to Cam Cam. Bet you didn't know that. Cam Cam, unrelatedly, once had a cameo in EastEnders.
Welcome, Your Royal
How are
Highness.
you?
I am
How
very
are you?
well.
You've
More
got a nice little bottle there.
yes, it's rum, especially from Trinidad.
Fantastic.
Yes, and as they say, a drop a day keeps the doctor away.
Oh, because this is actually so important, and I haven't had an opportunity to say this. I've gone deep on a weird amount of British celebrities,
And their relation to one another.
and all of them are really, really wealthy and went to fancy schools. And I reckon that there are so many British celebrities with ties to royalty through like schools they went to or
Camilla's related
genes.
to Madonna.
Yeah,
by blood.
that's what I
Okay,
mean.
They're related by blood. You know who else she's related to? Well, Diana.
Oh no!
Yeah, through many lines. And Charles was also obviously related to Diana.
Yeah.
So Diana, Charles, Camilla, all related.
They have a family get together and they go, oh. They're like some old uncle who's like, let's have a family reunion.
Barbecue.
And they walk in. Charles goes, Cam Cam?
And Princess Anne would be there, and so would Andrew.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, ooh, this is so bad. It's
Like, I don't know. Cam Cam and Charles's shared passion for art. Maybe that's genetic.
You don't know what's chemistry and what's genetics. You can't know for sure because she also likes gardening, but that could be in the blood.
Yeah.
Anyway, feuding.
Don't they both like horses?
Yeah, a lot.
I don't know. They have a lot in common. They don't look unalike.
The difference between people who really like horses and don't really like horses
Is
access to
money.
horses. Yes, is direct access to
I think
your
I'd
own
be a horse person
if you could afford one's own horse.
if I had
Yeah.
ridden a horse before I was 30 years old.
Yeah, I'm not a horse person.
It's like skiing.
Exactly. It's time for feuding because she's a feuder. Speaking of Camilla's long-lost cousin Diana, yeah, there was tension. Firstly, Diana famously called her a Rottweiler. That was her nickname for her. A dog I feel is misunderstood and maligned.
Yeah.
I like Rottweilers.
We had a Rottweiler growing up.
Well, he was half Rottweiler.
Hmm.
He was a little aggressive, but not that aggressive. But let's begin with Diana's wedding day because she's walking down the aisle in that big silly dress. And she's doing her thing, and this is what she sees. Claire, I want you to describe Cam Cam in this image because apparently, literally, Diana's walking down and she makes eye contact with Cam Cam.
on her wedding day.
Yeah. Is there anything that sticks out to you about
Okay.
that photo?
So my favourite thing about Cam Cam in this photo is that she is wearing white.
Yes.
So she's wearing a big white hat. She's had a professional blow dry and she is wearing a white dress. And let's just say it wasn't one of those weddings where people were told to wear white. She is the only one.
Yes.
The people around her are wearing green, yellow, and blue.
Yes, she's wearing white. But my other question is, if the love of your life is marrying someone else, is that the best you can do? Or would you get your tits out?
Well, okay, obviously, many of us would get our tits out. Goes without
Yes,
saying.
yes.
However, I think what Cam Cam was trying to say was,
Look at me, I'm a bride.
look at me, I'm a bride,
Mm.
I'm classy. Queen, you think I'm not classy enough? Look at me in my wedding dress. It's not your wedding.
If I'm trying to dress for the love of my life's wedding, I'm not wearing a pillbox hat. But I'm not Camilla. And she's attached what can only be described as a veil to her pillbox hat.
I love it. I actually really enjoy the commitment.
Me too. Diana said, I knew she was in there, of course, I looked for her. So walking down the aisle, I spotted Camilla. She describes the pillbox hat. She said veiled pillbox hat. So she noticed the veil. But she describes Camilla as wearing pale grey. And I'm like,
I don't want to be rude, but she
Get
was
your eyes
upstaging
tested.
it.
She's wearing white. That is a shade of white. To this day, you know, vivid memory. That's Diana. Well, it's a vivid memory, but you've misremembered the colour. Apparently, Charles tried to get Thom, as in his godson, Camilla's actual son, into the wedding party. And Diana was like, I draw the line at that. Okay?
And including your mistress's
Son.
children in the wedding party? Not
For
so
our wedding.
much. I just want to know what Andrew said when Camilla and Andrew are ready to leave for the wedding. Camilla's like, yeah, I'm good. And Andrew goes, why are you wearing a wedding dress? And she's like, stop it. The wedding cars are coming to get us. I've got the rings. Cam,
this is not.
It's not your
not
wedding.
yet. This brings me to Cam. She's a shit stirrer in that she's having a very unsubtle affair with the future King of England and she keeps turning up places. For example, in the early 90s, Diana is at a party thrown by Camilla's sister. Having said that sentence, maybe Diana shouldn't have gone. Because it's Camilla's sister, Camilla's probably going to be there.
Yeah, but with that said, as we have pointed out, Camilla's sister is probably Diana's sister.
So true.
Or cousin or auntie.
That's true.
Or
Or daughter.
Godmother.
It could be her daughter.
In her defense, they're all related.
So you show up and you're like, oh, I forgot you were Camilla's sister. I was thinking you were my mother. Okay. Sorry.
So hard.
And she knew Charles was going to be there, so she put in effort and she turned up. Charles and Camilla go missing, and Diana eventually finds them on a sofa in a room downstairs and confronts Camilla by saying, I'd just like you to know that I know exactly what is going on. Camilla doesn't deny it. She doesn't apologise. She doesn't say she'll stop. She simply says to Diana, you have all the men in the world, everything you could ever want. And according to reports, Diana replied, I want my husband.
Aww,
But Camilla also wanted her husband.
I think it's...
Can we just remind ourselves who we are talking about? We are talking about Charles, Claire. Please describe what you see here.
Okay, that is a photo of Charles taken at an nondescript period of time with a balloon animal on his head. And that is a good point that we're talking about Charles, because you look at both those women and say, you can do better.
You can do better. In 1995, Diana was on that infamous BBC Panorama interview and she said,
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Oh, no,
Which
there were
is-
4.
there were
If you
4
include
technically.
Andrew.
Technically. And they were also, like, you're all related.
Mm.
And Claire, I keep thinking that they should have gone on Jerry Springer or alternatively Maury Povich.
Oh,
And then I thought, wait, what was the British version of Maury? And then I looked it up.
Ricky
It was-
Lake? Oh.
No, Jeremy Kyle.
Thank you very much indeed. Good morning, and as ever, a big welcome to the show. Now, my first guest today, Kirsty, is here to confront her partner Ben's ex-girlfriend over allegations that Ben has been sleeping with his ex behind her back. Now, Kirsty says that
They should have gone on Jeremy Kyle. You get Cam on set, Andrew even, and you just get all of them together and you just have it out.
And then once they're all
Do some
fighting,
paternity tests.
once it's like, you are not the father.
Yeah.
And then the Queen comes out.
Yes, and everyone just goes quiet.
Oh,
She's got a
no.
little pillbox hat. and
We've
she's like,
disappointed her.
oh no, we're going to get in trouble. Diana really hated Cam because she wanted her husband to stop cheating, and he wouldn't, and neither would she, which was annoying and stressful. We know at this time that Diana's mental health deteriorated, and a lot of people partially blame this on Cam, who sort of said she said nothing in the public eye, but she did continue to have sex with Charles, regardless. But Diana wasn't the only person who didn't like Cam. The Queen's mother.
Yep, I understand.
That's what I mean by the Queen Mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the Queen's mother.
Yes. Camilla's name was strictly prohibited from being mentioned in the presence of the Queen Mother, who said that Cam was a negative influence on Charles and was a threat to the future of the monarchy, and she tried to prevent their marriage. Speaking of, I need you to know that the Queen did not attend Charles and Camilla's wedding in 2005 because she had a horse event.
Okay. Why didn't I know this?
I don't know.
This seems so important.
She didn't come. She had a horse racing event. Neither did Philip. They went to another event.
That's so passive
Camilla, they had a
aggressive.
civil ceremony, and then when people were like, hey, why aren't you going to your son's wedding? She was like, he didn't want to make a big fuss of it, so I just went to the reception. She did go to the reception, and you know what she wore? White. She wore full white.
She was trolling her.
She was trolling her. Some members of the public really struggled with this wedding and saw it as disrespectful to the memory of Diana, who at this point had been killed in a car accident 8 years prior. It was promised that Cam would never be queen. This was a civil ceremony because Church of England very much can't get divorced. Well, you can in Church of England because it's King Henry the...
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
You can, but I guess...
Yeah, no, the Queen doesn't like divorce though.
No.
She didn't like that. But she let Charles have his silly day.
75% of her children are divorced. Anyway, it's just a fun fact.
Quick note on the tampon chat. In our Charles-ette, we revoiced the recorded tampon sex talk incident between Camilla and Charles.
That was really important content.
But then I revisited that chat and I realised there were a few things I missed at the time. The first, Claire, you might have said this, but I didn't quite pick up on it. The person who stumbled across this audio hadn't tapped Charles and Camilla's phones.
No, they found this by coincidence.
Accident.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I said that at the time, which was, can you imagine you're just listening in to whatever, I don't know, hacking phones as you do in that era.
Yeah.
And you're like,
random people's phones. It's like, I'm not even looking for the Prince of England.
I'm not. And you go, is that Charles? And then you go, oh, is that Cam?
And are they talking about Tim?
Yeah.
The fact that they found that by accident
It's one of the miracles of our time. Greatest miracles
means,
of our
Claire, that this was not a one-off chat.
Oh,
and this
God,
is something
no.
that we haven't quite... This could have been the tamest chat these two ever had. It
What
just
else?
happens to be
Okay.
the one they came across.
So if he wanted to be her tampon to live in her
I
vagina,
wanted to be a butt plug. I want to be your...
lunch, so you put me in your mouth. I
want to be your pad so you never take me out. I just stay there in your pants.
I want to be like a cotton bud, so I'm in your ears.
That's nice. I want to be your boxer shorts that you do your handstands in. and your
willy
ballies
flops
stick out. That's what I
How
want.
romantic. I reckon they were having dirty conversations.
Dirty.
I reckon Charles was, like, just given his track record, I wouldn't be surprised if he was having them within earshot of his wife or his young sons.
So true. Yeah, he wasn't very good at subtlety.
No.
I also think there was a bit we didn't read out, and I found a new bit, okay? So I'm going to be Charles and you be Camilla. This is the end of the chat, right? Just for, like, tonally. Like, you've just had a really long conversation about tampons and stuff, and we're getting to the end of the chat.
Cool.
Going.
Gone.
Night.
Bye. Press the button.
Going to press the tit.
All right, darling. I wish you were pressing mine.
God, I wish I was. Harder and harder.
Oh, darling.
Night.
Night.
Love you.
Love you. Press the tit.
Adore you. Night.
Night.
Night. We need to talk about the word tit. I hate it.
It's so not sexy.
Press the tit.
Press the
Hold
tit.
the tit. Let me just get going to press the tit. I wish you're pressing my tit harder and harder.
Their dirty talk, as we talked about in the King Charles episode, is
Shit,
appalling.
it's shit. No one wants to press. When I see pressing a tit, I see I'm walking out of this office and I need to cross the road. And I press the button.
But it's
It's
tit.
very Hong Kong.
It's very.
It's
yeah.
not sexy. I don't like the word tit.
Makes it like a tit. Ugh, it makes me think of like teats.
Yes, it
like
makes
a
me
pig.
think of teats. It makes me think of honking a cow.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Night. No, you both have children. You have shit to do.
Press a tit and get on with it. I need you to understand how much people hated Camilla. She was the other woman in stark opposition to the people's princess, Diana. She was tearing apart the royal family. She was a mistress, a side chick who used the future king of England as her tampon. She was making a mockery of this sacred institution with their silly hats and names like Mountbatten and Countess. Like, this is serious stuff, Cam.
Jessie, who in your life would you say hated Cam the most?
Oh, I think my gran.
Oh, because I was going to say Nan.
Oh, the
Our
hated
grandparents.
Ugh.
But that's because they were very conservative about divorce.
They didn't like divorce and they didn't like the affair
Mm-mm.
because Cam came in waving her vag.
Yeah.
And
Homewrecker.
broke up their marriage. It was classic homewrecker behaviour.
Waving her tits.
Waving.
Demanding they be pressed. Demanding somebody press her tits, which is an ambiguous instruction.
And then you want to curl up a little man and put him in your tampon.
It's confusing.
It's confusing. And Cam needed a rebrand, which brings us to Harry's book.
That made her dangerous.
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press. And there was open willingness on both sides to trade of information. And with a family built on hierarchy, and with her on the way to being Queen Consort, there was going to be people or bodies left in the street because of that.
Turns out Harry also does not like Cam. You might be thinking, oh, Jessie, that's an exaggeration. Look at you with your sensationalism. No, Claire. He said she was a dangerous villain who left bodies on the street and sacrificed him on her personal PR altar. That was like 5 minutes ago he said that.
It sounds very witchy, the sacrifice bit.
I love it because it's on purpose.
And it's very like wicked stepmother.
Yeah. He was like, oh, I wouldn't call her a wicked stepmother, but she's my stepmother and I would call her like wicked type thing.
I wouldn't call her a bad person. It's just she sacrifices people.
At the altar and leaves bodies on the street. He wrote in his book that he said to his dad, Charles, and Camilla, we support you, we endorse Camilla, just please don't marry her, just be together, pa. And apparently Charles didn't answer, but she answered straight away. Shortly after our private summits with her, Harry wrote, she began to play the long game, a campaign aimed at marriage and eventually the crown, with pa's blessing, we presumed. Stories began to appear everywhere in all the papers about her private conversation with Willie, stories that contained pinpoint accurate details, none of which had come from Willie, of course. They could only have been leaked by the other one person present. Okay, so Cam is a...
Leakin'.
She's a piece of trash.
Leakin' homewrecker. You might remember that just before the second half of Meghan and Harry's Netflix doco was released, Camilla was pictured going out to lunch. Do you remember this?
Yep.
And there was Piers Morgan, Jeremy Clarkson, and television presenter Claudia Winkleman. And it was this idea that she's in bed with the press and that she uses them to get her message across, and that's why she's come across so well. Now, Claire, remember the other week during our Kate Middleton episode, we became quite obsessed with the angry lady at the Daily Mail? Amanda Platell. Well, are you wondering what Amanda thinks about Cam?
Obviously.
Well, that's what I found myself Googling.
Oh,
I Googled what Amanda thinks of this Camilla business. And yeah, she has some thoughts.
I bet she does. Can I see?
Amanda loved Diana.
Oh,
Loved Princess Di.
Amanda,
Loved her.
it's like Amanda plugs herself into like, what is the lowest common denominator thought about something? And I'll just reflect that for numbers purposes on the Daily Mail.
In February last year, though, she called it. She was ready. She said, I've finally forgiven Camilla. Claire, can you please read out? You know how the Daily Mail does a headline and then it does like 4 dot points to just summarise where she's going in her article?
Yeah.
I want you to read out the headline and then just some dot points, okay?
Amanda Platell in capital letters. As a betrayed wife, I was on Team Diana. So why have I finally forgiven Cam?
You were
Camilla.
wondering.
Question mark.
Yes.
The dot points say, Diana separated from Prince Charles in 1992 and they divorced in 1996. Amanda Platell's marriage fell apart in 1990 after her husband cheated on her. UK-based writer admits she wasn't a good wife, working 6 to 7 days a week, slamming Kate Middleton. Okay, that doesn't say that.
Middleton,
but that is what she was doing.
That was a full-time gig.
Explains why embittered ex-wives like her should embrace Camilla as queen. How degrading, Amanda.
Okay, I don't mean to be rude, but like, who cares about Amanda's marriage?
Amanda's like, I'm not saying I'm Diana. I'm just saying I'm a lot
I
like
think
Diana.
she literally says that at one point. This is from the article. This is a quote from the article because I was like, I have to read this whole thing because Amanda's lived a whole life. And it explains where she's coming from. Okay?
Because the anger comes from.
She writes, how naive of me to think the most beautiful man I had ever seen, drop dead gorgeous, tall, clever and funny. Someone I'd married, this is just from Amanda's diary, I guess, someone I'd married with such hope on a clear blue summer's day in Sydney, Australia, because as we established, she's Australian, would be happy with half a married life while I got on with my career. Amanda blames herself, and in so doing, she blames Diana.
Amanda,
Just because you work doesn't mean that he's allowed to go have an affair.
No, but I will say that what Amanda's done here is she's gone, my job is to be a royal writer and to have a royal take. I'm hurting. And I'm actually going to go a little bit memoir on the Daily Mail. Is it what the Daily Mail readers want? We'll see. We'll test the waters. And she's gone a bit on a blue sky day, on my wedding day. And everyone's like, Amanda, less that, more yelling about Cam.
Exactly. What do you think of her shoes? We don't understand. Well, she wrote this last week. Why I wish King Charles was not making Camilla his queen today. And it's just, and this is what I wrote. Surprise and delight, you never know what Amanda's going to say. And that's the beauty of Amanda.
But that is also
because I don't know her take.
The sign of a good opinion writer. You don't know what they're going to say. But it's more, it's more that's because they have a nuanced take. And Amanda, I don't know.
It's just firing a gun. Yeah. And it's like, you think I'm glad that she's queen just because I got cheated on? What, Amanda? I'm not. I wish she wasn't the queen. Why? I don't know. And then she just writes this thing that doesn't make sense. And then she's like, Kate's pretty is the next one. And then she's like, Meghan wears horseshoes. And you're like, okay, Amanda. Claire, it's time for charges and sentences for Cam. My charge for Cam. It's one we've never heard before. She mistress too close to the sun.
Oh, no.
She mistress too good.
Oh.
She mistress too good. She was just minding her business, being a mistress, which everyone was, even her great-grandmother or whatever. And the next thing she knows, she's the Queen of England.
Yeah.
And that like a lot of people have mistresses or are mistresses, and it doesn't mean they want to be the queen. But she mistress too hard.
She mistress really hard.
She was trying to be a side chick. She was trying to be just like a bit of fun on the side, bit of like sexy, just keep it fresh, tampon, press my tit.
That's an important aside I would like to make, that part of the rebrand of Camilla, I believe, is showing that she's a little bit sexy. So when you showed me that picture of the pool, I believe wholeheartedly that Camilla wears quite a sleek one piece, probably black, with a low back, and she swims.
Apparently she loves a swim in the English countryside.
Yeah, she would.
And again, too cold. But I have it on good authority that she's a sexy lady.
Yeah.
She exudes sex appeal. So she was just trying to be a mistress. Now she's got a crown on her head, and she was like,
now she's... And she did mistress too close to the sun, because what she's ended up with now is
a job.
Yes, a job which no one ever wants.
Especially in their 70s.
But she is now the gatekeeper / looker after her of bloody thing.
Yeah.
She is always there when the pen runs out. She's the one who had to sit there the day of the coronation when Willie and Kate were running late because, in my opinion, Charlotte threw a tantrum.
Yes.
And they weren't coming. And Charles was sitting there staring out, being angry. And the lip readers have said that he was saying, always bloody late, never bloody on time. And he was
and
ranting.
It's Camilla that cops that.
It's Cam.
Well, look, maybe that is her sentence.
All she wants, it's like an eternity with bloody thing.
Well, my sentence was going to be, I was trying to think of anything worse than being the Queen of England married to King Charles. And I couldn't think of anything. But then I was like, I want her to be asked, for example, Cam, where do you get that crown? When they know that she it's been stolen from India or something and it's worth millions and millions of dollars. And I want Cam to just be like, I just had an affair. I had an affair. My husband was sticking it in, being a humpy McHump. I had a hump, and now I'm the Queen of England.
All I wanted to do was some dirty talk over the phone
What I've done is I've fallen upwards to a degree I wasn't anticipating. Okay? I have an affair with one guy. I had one affair and I'm the Queen of England.
There's a lot of responsibility that came with this affair.
Yes. Claire, what is your charge?
My charge, and we actually have had this in the council courtroom before, and it is a bit unfair to give it to Cam when I didn't give it to Charles, but I believe he had other charges come in, and, court...
He's grumpy.
Well, yeah, and in court, you can only give one charge.
Yes. Except when you want to give two.
Or more. But my charge is this. Being bad at cheating. Because things such as the photos falling out of the diary, the wedding gift, wearing white on his wedding day, the unprotected phone calls with sexy talk. Cam?
And this comes back to, and I'll add this to your charge, is that I think she's got just a little bit of shit stirrer in it. I think she's a bit, I feel like if she was on maths.
Davina.
I think she's got a hint of Davina in her.
If Trace decides to talk to me tonight, I'll be lovely, condescending obviously, but I'll be lovely with a little dagger in my hand while I'm smiling.
Energy.
And she's like, are the cameras filming us? The cameras filming us? Because I'm going to kiss someone else's husband.
Yes, she has a bit of that. And that's okay. I'm not holding that against her.
It's according to the rule book, it's a crime.
Yes. And it is being bad and unsubtle when it is the future King of England. Do you have a sentence?
So I'm aware that the hard thing is that she's needed cheating lessons for a long time.
Yeah. Same with, who was the guy who sent the text messages?
Adam Levine.
Adam Levine had a similar crime.
So maybe what we need is we need to get all these people into a room together.
Yep.
And they need a lesson.
Online course.
On cheating better. No, I say it's not online. I think it's in person because that makes it more awkward.
All right. It's and actually, who runs it though?
Charles is going to be there too. Some celebrity that we don't know has been cheating this whole time.
Tom Hanks.
Or Matt Damon.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh.
He's like, I'll do it. I'll run a course on how not to get caught.
I'm not running this because I cheat. And it's like, I don't know. It's very confusing.
Someone who has the best image.
The best reputation says, this is what you've all done wrong.
Yeah.
Firstly, you're disgusting. Yeah. You disgust me.
Yes.
Your behaviour. This is how you cheat properly.
And then what we need is because I think it could be, if we're going to fly all over the world, I think it's got to be more of a conference, like a 2-3 day thing. Yeah. And I think we've got how to cheat better.
Yeah.
And then how to dirty talk better.
Because
that was Adam Levine's problem as well.
Yeah.
And also Camilla and Charles's problem. Look, I was going to say E.L. James, who wrote 50 Shades of Grey, but she's probably in attendance.
And her dirty talk wasn't great.
No, so I think she actually needs a lesson too.
I think it'd be a really nice
I don't know
convention.
Who would be the expert though.
I think it would be in Vegas.
Okay. Yeah. Caesar's Palace.
In a hotel, casino, so you can all have a slap between courses.
And go to the buffet.
I think
catered.
Charles would love that. Just as a bit of a break. And I feel like he'd walk around with his crown and everyone would be like, another person in Vegas pretending
Caesar's
they're
Palace,
royalty.
yeah.
And he'd be like, is this my palace?
No, not everything is your palace.
You're in Vegas. Caesar's Palace.
They don't respect you. But a 3-day conference. I agree. I agree. That would actually be really, really helpful.
On cheating better, doing dirty talk better, and specifically not wearing white to the wedding of the person you're cheating on.
Yes, great point. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Cancelled. The executive producer of Cancelled is Talissa Bazaz, with audio editing by Thom Lyon. And for all the receipts, all the pictures from today, including the pillbox hat with the veil, etc., at @twins_thoughts on Instagram, or we are Cancelled on TikTok.
And if you wanted to leave us a review, that would be lovely.
That would be lovely.
It helps people find us, and the more people find us, the weirder this gets.
We'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.